Hi, today we will discuss active voice and passive voice. Do you know how to do it? I have given an example on the board and check if you know it. If you don't know it, understand it. She reads a book. This sentence becomes a book is read by her. This is an active sentence and this is a passive sentence. How to convert? There are some rules. Let's see those rules. First one is find subject, verb and object. That's the first step. Second step is reverse subject and object. So it becomes object and subject. Third step, convert the main verb to past participle. Fourth rule, be plus pp. This is the main rule for passive voice. So we have to use be form plus past participle. PP means past participle. So these are the main rules to convert an active sentence to passive sentence. We'll see how to do it. She reads a book. Here, she is a subject, reads is a main verb, a book is an object. Do you know how to find out subject, verb, object? If you don't know, subject means it gives the answer for who. For example, who reads a book? Here, she reads a book. Who? She. So, this she is an answer for who. That is why she becomes a subject. What is main verb? It's an action word. So, read is an action. It becomes main verb. Who receives the action? A book receives an action from this person. So, this book becomes object. Now, we completed the first step. Find out subject, verb, object. So, we completed the first step. Shall we go for the second step? In the second step, we have to reverse subject and object. So, here this is a subject and this is an object. This object becomes subject because we have to reverse it. Then subject becomes an object. So when this she is in a subject position, this is she. When it goes to an object position, that becomes her. Because we cannot write she at the end. So I cannot say a book is read by she. No. That doesn't take an object position. So she becomes her. Then I have to see, when we change an active sentence to passive sentence, what are the words which change? Let me give a note of it. So, if you take I, if I is in subject position, when it becomes object, it becomes me. Take a note of this one. Then, if you have you in a subject position, that becomes you itself. Next, if he is there in a subject position, when it becomes an object, it becomes him. Then, she becomes, can you tell me? She becomes her. We becomes us. They becomes them. It becomes it only. So it remains as it is. Other than this, if any name is there, for example, if Ravi is there in the subject position, it becomes Ravi itself. So names remain the same. If Sita is there, it becomes Sita only. If Rama is there, Rama. So whenever the names are there, they remain the same. But whenever you find these words, you have to be very careful to change those words into object position. I hope you understood this one. So I'll rub this. So we understood how to reverse subject and object. Object becomes subject, subject becomes object. So this is the second step. Third step is add by. So before this you have to add by. So join this one more step. Then we'll go for convert the main verb to past participle. Past participle means it is the third form of the verb. Do you know which is the first form, second form, third form and fourth form? If you don't know, take a note of that also. So if I write eat, it is the first form of a verb that is called as base form. If this eat goes to the second verb form, it becomes ate and that is past form of a verb. Then in the third column, it becomes eaten. So this is past participle. Next, the fourth one is eating. That is present participle. Present participle. So every verb, every main verb has four forms. One is base form, past tense, past participle, present participle, or you can also call it as a progressive, ing form. We will take other examples. Let me go for go. Go is a base form. Can you tell me the past form of this? Past form of go is went. Past participle form gone. Then fourth one is ing form. So you have to go for going. The examples I gave are irregular verbs. So what type of examples did I give? I gave irregular verbs. Irregular verbs means we see different verb forms in different columns. See, it is eat. Is it same as ate? No, eat is different from ate. Eaten, eating. So we have different words in each column. Here, go, went, gone, going. So again we have different forms. So these are irregular verbs. There is another type that is called as regular verb. So we will see those regular verbs also. If I write one word, for example, if I write add, in the past tense, I have to add just ed to make it past. So add becomes added. Past participle, same. Added. Then present participle, adding. Are you getting? Let me take one more example. Another example I took is walk. Can you tell me past tense? Walked. What did I add? I added ed. Next we have to go for walked. The same, we have to add ed. Then we have to go for walking. So observe these two words. Here we did past and past participles by adding only ed. Most of the verbs take only ed to become past and past participle, and those verbs are called as regular verbs. I hope you understood. There are two kinds of verbs. One is irregular and one is regular. Regular verbs means we see ed regularly. Irregular forms means we have different forms in each column. So mainly in passive voice we need to understand past participle and we need to learn past participle form of verbs. You can get it if you browse. So we understood the first step, we understood second step to reverse and then to add by before object. Then we understood how to convert main verb into past participle. whatever the verb is given, that verb has to be converted into past participle. Then the final rule, we have to check whether we have be forms and past participle together. This is the formula for the passive voice. Now, do you know which are the be forms? Let us take those be forms. Be forms. Whatever I am writing below, you have to take a note of it to understand this passive voice very clearly. So, be forms are am, is, are, was, were, be, been, being. So, these are be forms. So, we have to make sure that we have one be form plus one past participle in passive voice. So, be form plus past participle and by. So, these are the important things in passive voice. So, did you understand this rule? Let's understand passive voice very clearly with some examples. Before that, you should know this rule. What is the rule of passive voice? Be form plus past participle. So, you have to keep this rule in your mind. And whatever the notes I gave you below, those things are very important. If you don't know, then you have to learn those things and then you have to continue with this one. Here, be forms. These are all be forms I have written. Do you remember? So, if you see do forms or does form in a sentence, then you have to use am or is or depends on singular and plural. Let's take one example. They write notes. So what is the sentence? They write notes. So now, first rule. Can you apply the first rule? First rule is subject, verb, object. So you have to find out subject, verb, object. Second rule, reverse. Notes and they becomes them in the object position. I gave a note on this. Then, which is the verb? Verb is write. Do you know the past participle of write? Past participle of write is written. Written. Then, I told do form or does form. Actually, this is a do form because they write notes and they do write notes. Both are same in meaning. Here, do is hidden here. So, this is called as do form. So, simple present tense. Do form means what we have to use? We have to use am or is or depends on singular and plural. Is used for singulars. Are is used for plurals. So now here you see notes. Notes is singular or plural. Singular means one. Plural means more than one. So notes. Note is singular. Notes is plural. Notes means we have to use are because it is plural. So what is the passive voice now? Notes are written. One more is missing, that is by. So, notes are written by them is the answer for they write notes. I'll take another example for does. Let's take he writes notes. So, can you reverse? Notes him. Then we need to add by. Write means it becomes written. And now see this. Notes. Notes is plural, so we have to use notes are written by them. You just imagine he writes a book. If this sentence is that, then he is a subject, a book is an object. So what happens at that time? A book comes to the subject position. This object comes to subject position. A book is singular. At that time, we have to add is, not are. So we need to check whether it is singular or plural. If in the object position, singular is there, then in the subject position, you will get singular itself. So for singular, you have to use is. For plural, you have to use are. Then, what about am? Am is used for I. For example, see, he beats me. So what happens? Me becomes I. He becomes him. By. So I am beat becomes beaten. Past participle is beaten. So I am beaten by him. So this is for simple present sentence. Now let's go for the second one. If I write, he is writing a book. He is writing a book. Can you find out subject and object? He is subject, a book is object. So we have to write down a book. In the object position, we have to write down him. Before that, by. What is the past participle form of write? It is written. So we have this verb is. Now, see here, am, is, are. So if is there, what we have to add? Is plus being. So I have to take a book is being written by him. This is very important. So if is there, we have to add is plus being. If am is there, am plus being. If are is there, are plus being. So it depends on which helping verb is here. Did you understand the second one? Next we'll go for has or have. Whenever we have has, we have to add has been. Have been. For example, we'll take. He has written a book. So this is in active voice. When you change this, it becomes a book has been, because whenever we have has, we have to use has plus been. So we have to use has plus been. A book has been written by him. So he becomes him in the object position. Did you understand this? So if you get have, you have to use have plus been. Like this. Have plus been. Then we'll go for did form. Did form means it is simple past tense. Past form of a verb. For example, he wrote the book. So what does it become? We'll just go for a book, him. So by is compulsory, so we'll say by him. Then a book is singular, we have to go for was written. Observe, if did form is there, did form means past form of a verb. So if we have a past form of a verb, then we have to go for was plus past participle. If you get plurals, then you have to go for books were written by him. Now we'll go for the next example. If you get was or were, then how to convert was plus being, were plus being. One example we'll take. He was writing a book. So, what did I say? If we have was, then we have to add was plus being. So, this becomes a book was plus being, was being, write becomes written, then by him. So this is be plus past participle. This is the formula of a passive voice. Next, if you get were, it also has to be added with being. For example, see, if we have a sentence, he was writing books, then we have to write down books were. Books were means were plus being. Books were being written by him. We will go for past perfect sentence. So in past perfect, we use had plus past participle. So this had has to be changed into had been in the passive voice. We'll take one example. He had written a book. Can you change it now? So find out subject and object, change it, a book. So if had is there, we have to add been with that, had been. Then we have written, so we no need to change this one because it's the form of past participle. Written by him. I know this will confuse you. Passive voice is a bit difficult if you don't understand. If you understand, it's very easy. So definitely it will have a little bit of confusion. If you should not have any confusion, from the beginning you have to understand every step and then continue the next step. Without understanding one step, you should not continue with the next step. So will you promise that you'll practice and then you'll go to the next step? Okay, then we'll go for the next one now. So modals I have written. If modals are used, then we have to use be with modals. First we should know which are the modals. Modals means will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must. So these are modals. Make a note of this one. Which are the modals? Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must. So these are the modals. Whenever a modal is there in a sentence, we have to add be form to make it a passive sentence. We'll go for another one. He will write a book. I have written he will write a book. So I have used a modal here. So whenever a modal is there, we have to add be. Correct? So now we have to go for a book. Will becomes will be. Then write becomes, what is the past participle? Written. Then we have to go for by him. So a book will be written by him. It's very easy to use the modals. I'll just go for can now. He can write a book. So how can we change this? A book can be written by him. If I take could, He could write a book. So what does it become? A book could be written by him. Then we'll go for should. He should write a book. It becomes a book should be written by him. Did you understand this rule? If you didn't understand, go back from the first step as I said. We will take sentences of all important tenses and we'll convert those sentences to passive voice. First, let us go for he throws a ball. So, do you remember I said do forms? Throws means it's a do form. So, I have to go for he throws a ball. First, find out subject, object, reverse it. So, a ball becomes a subject, he becomes him. Then, we have to add by before him, then throw. What is the past participle form of throw? Past participle form is thrown. So, do form is there means I said you have to use am, is, are. So, it depends on which word is here. Now, we have to add is because a ball is singular. I have to go for is. A ball is thrown by him. Next sentence. This is simple present tense. Second one, present continuous. So here what happens? He is throwing a ball. So reversing, I'll not repeat. Whenever is there, I said is being has to be used. So whenever we have is in a sentence, we have to go for is being. If are is there, are being. If am is there, am being. He is throwing a ball. A ball is being thrown by him. So, by him is an object. So, in all the sentence, it is the same. A ball is a subject. It's the same in all the sentences here. And then, past participle form of throw is thrown. It's same in all the sentences. So, we need to change only these helping verbs. We'll go for the next one. He has thrown a ball. So, I told whenever there is has, you have to go for has been. Has means has been. So, he has thrown a ball becomes a ball has been thrown by him. Next sentence. He threw a ball. So, it is did form. If a past form of a verb is there, that is called as did form. So, he threw a ball becomes a ball was thrown. If singular is there, was. If balls are there, then you have to go for balls were thrown by him. So, was are word for did forms. Then, if we have was in a sentence, then I told you was being has to be used. So, he was throwing a ball becomes a ball was being thrown by him. Next sentence. He had thrown a ball. So, if had is there, what do we have to add? Can you remember? Had been. He had thrown a ball becomes a ball had been thrown by him. The next sentence, he will throw a ball. Whenever a modal is there, I told you to add be form. So, it becomes a ball will be thrown by him. Modals means I gave you some examples. So, instead of will, if we have can, a ball can be thrown by him. If it is would, a ball would be thrown by him. If it is could, a ball could be thrown by him. Should, a ball should be thrown by him. Did you understand all these sentences? As I said, all the steps are very important. Go through all the steps. Be clear with all the steps. Practice. And then go to the next steps. It will be easy for you at that time.
Find some more examples here. Pause the video now and convert these sentences to passive voice. Check your answers now. If you have done mistakes, go through the video once again. Thank you.